Yeah, it's a good perspective. I know a lot of people in the industry or in crypto and DeFi, they want it to happen faster, right? Because they see it. But when you take a look back, it's actually happening quite fast. And, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, it is. And, I love that you quote that serial killer line. One of the reasons I love using it is to remind people it will happen serially. It's not going to all happen overnight. And, in the bubbles and the manias, everybody thinks, Bitcoin blockchains can change the world overnight. And then, when it goes down 80 or 90%, like it has many times, people are like, oh, it failed, it didn't do anything. In reality, it's slowly marching through, hundreds of different use cases, some of which, like wealth storage, cross-border money movement, it's already great at. 8% of all the US to Mexico remittance is going over Bitcoin. That's awesome, right? Like, so it's already very useful. But, like refugee aid, it's not gotten done yet, right? Or voting rights, which ultimately blockchain will be hugely impactful. That's like 20 years from now. Another one, you know well, Wall Street back offices. Someday they will all be on a blockchain. It's going to be like 20 years from now, right? So all this stuff has to happen in its own good time. And I was just thinking, one other analog that's helped a ton of people is to think of what blockchains can do to finance is the same as what VoIP did to the telephone monopolists. So when I was a kid, AT&T controlled every phone in the United States, and if I wanted to call somebody in England, I had to use British Telecom, and it was really expensive. Like, you really were conscious of how many minutes you were on an international phone call. Then they realized you could route voice over the internet. And so the amount of information that now goes over the internet literally wouldn't fit over copper wires. There's not enough copper on Earth to run what is now the internet. And obviously broadband costs are basically zero. That's basically what's going to happen in finance is now you can route money over IP. So you don't have to use these expensive middlemen that provide trust and move money around. Anybody with a smartphone can communicate with anybody else on Earth with a smartphone. And that is going to do what it did with voice, is going to bring a massive explosion in the number of transactions. And the cost is going to head towards zero, and it's going to open up all kinds of new things like micro labor and things that just are not possible in the current finance world.